and welcome to today's webinar on SOLIDWORKS Visualize and What's New Visualize 2017. My name is Robert French. I'm an applications engineer at GoEngineer. Let's get started. Alright, so what is Visualize? It's the camera that we can use to create some high quality renderings of our different CAD models. Now, we could use this to drive innovation within our own company, help make different design decisions. It can also give marketing some really powerful tools, and your company as a whole, some powerful tools for how you want to represent your products to the market. And this can be done before the product's even made, because we can make these photorealistic renders that look just like the real thing. Just an example here, once again, it's the camera. So we went ahead and did a rendering of a camera, this nice Sony camcorder. You can see the quality it can provide. Alright, so what is Visualize exactly? Well, it's pretty much the fastest and easiest way that we can create these photorealistic and professional images. One of the big things about it is that it's CAD agnostic. So no matter what type of CAD package we might be working in already, CATIA, Autodesk Inventor, or preferably SOLIDWORKS, right? It's really easy. This Visualize can handle any of these file types, deal with a lot of different CAD types. Who can use it? It's so easy to use, and you'll see here in a sec when we jump into the software that there's really only 5 steps we're taking. Really easy to learn, drag and drop functionality, Windows functionality, SOLIDWORKS functionality that we're used to. So the learning curve is very, very minimal. Why should it be used? I mean, obviously, once again, we're all trying to make money at the end of the day, get our products out there, get them exposure, get people to turn their eye to them, and it can be really expensive to vet out a process completely, finally take actual photos of the product when we can kind of circumvent that whole process, spit out CAD files early on and create these renderings immediately for other departments of our company to use. Another thing that's great about SolidWorks or Visualize now is some of you out there have possibly dabbled into PhotoView 360. PhotoView 360 is great. Once again, intuitive, built-in SolidWorks, easy to learn and use, but that's tying up a SolidWorks license of ours. SolidWorks Visualize, formerly known as Bunkspeed, is a standalone product. It's not going to tie up a seat. It's going to allow us more productivity without stepping on the engineering crew's toes. So SolidWorks Visualize comes in 2 different packages as of now. It's kind of gotten the SolidWorks branding for product levels. So we have our standard package and our professional package. You'll notice kind of the icons or pictures, thumbnails associated with each of those. We have the still camera with standard and the kind of video camera with professional. That's because standard is just about taking stills, whereas professional will give you access to more tools like animations, creating video output files, MP4, Flash videos, things like that. So you're getting a little bit more with professional, and I'll go into detail on that in a sec. But the great thing about standard, it's included with SolidWorks Pro and Premium. So if you already have a Pro or Premium license, you have access to Visualize Standard right now. So it's kind of SolidWorks' way of rolling products down the chain as the years go on. Certain products become just kind of standard in the packages, and this year it was Visualize's turn. All right, so in Visualize Professional, what exactly are we gaining out of this? So first in the productivity category, we have things like the rendering manager, where we can set up tasks and things like this to be done overnight while we're not at our computer. We're not forced to sit there and click a render button every time we want to start a new render. We can set up a whole list or queue of different jobs and have them taken out all at once while we're not at our desk. Multiple viewports, so we can have different perspectives on our model going in real time. Just gives us a better insight to multiple render points of views simultaneously, so a little bit of a production level increase there. When it comes to lighting too, we're getting a lot more advantages here. The one that I really like that I think is really cool is the time of day lighting. So we can actually simulate the sun going across the sky and how the different light would cast over our different object based on its position to where the sun is in the sky. I think that's a pretty cool little feature. We also get more access to some of the more powerful lighting tools, and lighting is very important in any rendering. But we can add the point, spot, and directional lights like we're used to adding in PhotoView 360. And then we get some great raster and just better raster effects. Normally these rasters are saved towards the only for the post process, only during at the very end in the render will we see them. But with professional, we can actually see these in the preview mode, so it gives us a little bit better glimpse of our final render before we get there. A little bit more in professional, some animations like I was just telling you about. We can do turntable rendering where we can see some motion or some spinning to our object. Just gives it a little bit more of a professional feel. We can do automatic movie output of this in MP4, the MKV, and the Flash video like I mentioned earlier. I'll give you guys an example of that at the very end if I remember. I have a nice rendered movie output that I'd be happy to show you. And then the VR output and the panoramic output that we see online, right? We're able to spit out these renders that are web ready right away, able to be seen online. And we have a lot of companies, like you can see listed here, that are already doing this, are already using this software and creating these interactive, different rendering kind of views on their website. A big example is Ford. If you've ever been to the Ford website, you've customized the interior, whether it be cloth, leather, different colors, things like that. Those are done using the Visualize Render software. It's you're choosing a new texture or a new appearance to place on those things and seeing it rendered in real time on their website. So huge list of customers already existing, really getting a lot of good use out of it. You can see some of the big names on here, SpaceX, a lot of the big electronic companies, Microsoft, Dell, things like that. So a lot of big companies out there using this software and seeing great benefit from it. All right, so so we already did this one. All right, so let's jump into the software and show you guys just how easy it is. So this is what we'll see when we first start up Visualize, kind of intro screen. I'm just going to go ahead and start a new project from scratch. Give that a sec to boot up. All right, so I'm actually going to switch to the simple view. So this is the simple view, and this is where it's really easy for anyone, for anyone who really doesn't even have any experience with the software. They can really see here how quick and easy it is to render your CAD models. And we see the 5 options down at the bottom, like I said, 5 steps. So we're starting with an import. First, we're going to bring in our 3D model. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to my desktop. Sorry about that. And we're going to open this diamond ring file, SOLIDWORKS assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and import that, and we have some different options here for importing. When we first import, one of our biggest options that we want to check, and we kind of want to make sure we choose correctly, is this part grouping. So we have pre-existing appearances that we might have applied to our model in SOLIDWORKS, and Visualize is going to interpret that and kind of organize those appearances to make them easier to manipulate once you're inside of Visualize. So right here underneath part grouping, we have different options for how we can import the appearances from SOLIDWORKS. We're going to stick with appearance, but you can see all the other options here, like we can wipe out those appearances, retain the structure, flatten out the tree to make them individually applied, but we're going to stick with appearance for now, and I'll show you why here in a sec. Let's jump in. All right, so we see this ring file we have right here, and kind of navigating through this view window has pretty similar functionality to SOLIDWORKS. I'm using that middle mouse button held down to be able to rotate this image around. We can roll the mouse wheel in and out for zooming. So pretty standard stuff, pretty intuitive stuff we're used to, different workflows we've already experienced. So once I've got the model in, now I'm ready to start applying appearances to it. So we'll jump over to step number 2 here. So within this paint or this paint dialog box, we can see the 2 existing textures or appearances that have already been applied to this ring, but we have an extensive library as well that exists within Visualize. So you can see all our different materials here. Let's just go ahead and change a couple things on our model just for example's sake. Right now we have this gold appearance applied, but I'm going to drag and let's add silver. So earlier, when we were importing the model, I said we could group the appearances together. So when we were in SOLIDWORKS, these two rings both had the same gold appearance applied to them. So you notice when I drag and drop, and that's as easy as it is, when I drag and drop the silver appearance onto here, both rings are updating even though they are separate objects or separate bodies from SOLIDWORKS. So the appearance grouping can save a lot of time, make it very easy to reapply textures or appearances to a bulk of parts very quickly. Let's also jump into the gems category. And I can't really see these clears right now. They are there for the diamonds, but we'll apply something that's a little bit more noticeable, like the green. And so once again, these are all diamonds in SOLIDWORKS, so the same appearance or same texture would be applied to all of them. So when I did my appearance grouping, I'm able to change all of those simultaneously. All right, cool. We have this set list right here, but we also have the option in the dialog box that we can jump into the cloud in order to find many, many more appearances and textures. And since it's cloud-based, these are continually being uploaded or updated by different users. New appearances being added whenever someone feels like they want to upload that to the cloud for someone else to use. So an ever-expanding library, right, is the basic idea that we'll have different appearances being uploaded every day as people develop them. Those are all downloadable for free. Simply toggle to the cloud library like we see here, or back to our local library. Cool, so with our paint step done, we're going to move on to step 3 here, and we're going to add a scene and lighting in the background, what's around our CAD model. So let's jump into the scenes. Let's go ahead and expand it out a little bit. I'm going to jump into our local library. So this first tab is just, once again, what's being used in the model currently, like we saw in the paint step. Second tab here is what we have on our local directory currently loaded. So let's go ahead and let's try the Dazzler just because it has some nice lighting to it. All right, so when we add that scene has different lighting associated with it as well, and we kind of can see the lighting represented from the reflections we see on the ring. We're actually able to, once again, rotate the model and the view we currently have of it just by holding the middle mouse button. But if I want to change the scene, rotate the scene respective around the CAD model, holding the CAD model still, but reorienting how it locates itself in the scene or in the background, we can hold Control Alt, left click, and for instance, notice this little light reflecting off the ring right now. As I drag the environment around, we can see how the lighting updates and reflects off of the ring in different locations now. So really easy, intuitive to just kind of position things the way you want, set up lighting the way you want. Once we get all that good, once we're happy with the way the model is respective to our environment, we can go ahead and start to add cameras, the different viewports that we want to end up rendering this CAD file in. So let's jump into the camera option. All right, so right now we have just one camera on our model. It's our current view. This is what we're going to render. We can go ahead and add additional cameras. And before that, I do that though, I'm going to lock the current camera. I'm happy with this view. I don't want to see it changed either by accident or just anything. I want to make sure that this view that we currently have stays the way it is. I'll go ahead and lock it. I'm going to add another camera. We'll just call it camera 1 for now. You can see it zooms me out kind of to a base view. It gets me way out there, just lets me start from scratch. And as I zoom in, you can see the existing camera, our first camera, still there, the SOLIDWORKS viewport camera. So let's zoom in a little bit more and get this view, lock it. Once again, it's another camera view that I'm happy with, and I'll add another. So I add camera 2, and now when I zoom in, obviously, no surprise, we see the second camera that we added. So Once again, it gives you a great look, a little bit more intuitive. I don't know if anyone else out there has used PhotoView 360. It can be a little clunky at times, but this definitely has simplified the process to just add as many cameras as you want. You can adjust the settings like you see here, perspective, brightness, just to get those just exactly how you get your part exactly how you want it to look. We can add our additional filters and things like that. So the main reason for doing this, though, is I mentioned earlier, we don't want to have to be, kind of a slave to our computer, and every time we finish a render or every time we set up something new, we have to go back in and hit that render button, let it do its thing. All right, we didn't like that one. Let's switch it a little bit. I'll set up multiple cameras in a couple different places where I think I might use them, and I'm able to render those all simultaneously. This is once again goes back to where I was mentioning setting up queues, setting up tasks, allowing us to automate some of the rendering rather than forcing us to constantly be making choices, selections, hitting that render button again. We just set up a ton of cameras ahead of time and let Visualize go for it. All right, so once we're done, once again with our first 4 steps, importing the model, applying appearances to the different solid bodies, applying a scene, our lighting, applying different cameras, different ways we want to view our object. Last step is to render. I'm actually not going to click render. I'll show you a finished render of this ring momentarily, but to make everyone here sit for a render wouldn't be a good use of our time. Rather than left click the render button down here, I'm actually going to right click it. And this brings up render profiles. So render profiles are kind of default ways we know we like to render. We don't always necessarily need that catalog ready photo. We don't need to go straight to market right away. We're just looking for something internal, something to give us a good idea of when we want to do that full end rendering. So we have these different profiles set up so that we can get we can have these preset strategies to determine, what level we're going to with this current render. We don't have to go through the options and say, hey, turn down this, I'm not interested in it right now, increase the resolution, whatever. We can save those as preset profiles, just kind of as default rendering modes, if you will, so that we can, quickly and easily get exactly what we want. All right, cool. Let's jump back into the PowerPoint. I just want to show you guys a couple examples, including the rings. So here's a great render. It's pure SolidWorks models here. The blur effect is something that comes in Professional as well. It's very nice, makes it look almost like this car is actually in motion, right? Keep moving on. This is one of the best examples done in Visualize. The amount of lighting that goes on here can get is very complicated, and I was mentioning earlier that lighting is key, right? We have to make sure that light is cast upon objects in a realistic and in an organic way so that we actually believe it. And with this particular example where we've got internal cabin lighting, LEDs spaced about, lighting coming from the front window of the cockpit, lighting coming from the side windows here. There's a lot going on there, but Visualizes up to the task and definitely does a good job here. Some more just kind of personal consumer items, looking really good. Almost realistic looking bike. I'm almost ready to buy it. This is probably my favorite one, is being able to apply some of the simulation results in a very clever way and give a great insight into some of the thermal analysis that happens to be going on inside of this turbine. This is definitely my favorite one. And once again, here's similar to the rings I was doing earlier, a pair of earrings. Diamonds, reflective materials like that are normally a big challenge. A lot goes into it, the refraction of the light, things like that, passing through so many surfaces, but once again, Visualize is able to make a very, very realistic render. All right, so that's it for that intro look to Visualize, but I did want to go over briefly some of the improvements that have been added in 2017. Let me go ahead and close this current project. Ooh, let me, before I get too further, I also wanted to show the watch spinning video that I mentioned to you guys earlier. So let me find that real quick. Ooh, that's right, I put it on my desktop. Sorry about that. So here's a rudimentary example of the turntable feature that Visualize Professional would be able to provide you with. Pretty cool little easy to spit out video. All right, let's look at what's new in 2017. So I'm going to go ahead and open up 2017 SolidWorks. I have this, some car buff out there, I'll probably know what it is better than I do, modeled for my coworker, electrical control box for some car modifications. So I spent a good time measuring this part for him and a good amount of time in SolidWorks trying to get it to look as real as I possibly could. Applying copper to the pins back here, stainless steel to the different bolt heads sticking out, this stud, some LED colors put on the surfaces here, matte black finishes, things like that. So previously in Visualize, it was a little bit of a pain. There was model associativity, meaning an update that we create in SolidWorks would propagate to Visualize. It would update the model, whether it was a physical dimensional change or a appearance change, things like that. It would update to Visualize, but in a little bit of a clunky manner. 2017 has really taken care of that and made it very easy and intuitive to get it out to Visualize quick and easy. We have the new SolidWorks Visualize command bar tab. I can export simple, which is just sending it out. There's very little associativity there, but I'll use the export advanced option. Give my computer a second. Got a lot running right now. So Visualize is popped up with our model present here. You can already see that in Visualize, it's already starting to look a lot more realistic. There's really no rendering happening. It's just simple geometric representation in SolidWorks, but Visualize already starts to analyze lighting and things like that very quickly, and the part is already starting to look more realistic. So what's great though is, like I said, the model associativity. So for instance, if I was just to create a new feature within SolidWorks, just as an example, perhaps an additional knob existed on this or an additional plugin existed on this face. Go ahead and extrude that out. So new surface, new feature there. I can either hit the update button here, or you can simply just save your part. And when I do that, let me see if I can get back into Visualize. Visualize is already screaming at me. It's already recognized the change. It says, hey, I'm not seeing the same version over in SolidWorks. Did you want to re-import this stuff? I'll go ahead and say yes. Oops, sorry, my computer's jumping around on me. And there's that additional boss feature that I had just created. Right, so very, very, very seamless model associativity. Like I said, I was using Visualize 2016, and there was just a couple extra steps. A lot of people were creating macros to automate some of the tasks. SolidWorks has finally just, taken control of that, taken charge of that, and made it very, very seamless at this point. All right, a few more improvements to 2017, and then we'll be all done here. So real briefly, let's go ahead and get this project loaded up. All right, cool. So I'm actually going to switch to the advanced view now, and I can do that by hitting the space bar. This was the simple view where we just have our 5 steps laid out very simply. I'll go ahead and hit space bar. And this brings up the kind of advanced view. You'll see the same 5 buttons up here, except for the render. It's just 4 buttons. The render now kind of finds its place up here at the top of the screen. But all this is doing is just giving us a little bit more in-depth look at the model. We can position different cut planes and things like that on a very, very specific basis now. It's not all visual based and simplified. We can really get into the nitty-gritty numbers here and type exactly what we want to. So what I'm going to do here, and let me turn on my, real quick. Let's see. Oh, there we go, timeline. So like we said, with a professional, you can create these really nice movies that are very easy to spit out. So we're going to go ahead and jump into adding a cut plane. With that cut plane, what we'll do here to create this video is quickly add a keyframe, basically a shot of this part in time. And when I do that, it's added to the timeline down here. Once again, this is new in 2017. I'm going to go ahead and drag this red slider, which is kind of just my total time. It's my stop point. It's the area to the left of it back to 0 is the time frame I'm working within now. And then this yellow slider is the actual point in time that the animation would be at. I'm going to drag that all the way to my end of my movie length as well. And now with this cut plane, like I said, we can get into nitty gritty. I can type in exactly where I'd like to see this cut plane happen. You can see when I do that, we're cutting -8 thou into the part. Now I'll take my slider for position in the movie. And hopefully if I don't go too fast, you guys will be able to see it as clean as I do. As we slide through time, we can see that cut plane start to propagate inside the part and actually cut away the components. So this would be a great animation video for, showing the overall product and then giving people a chance to see the insides with a nice animated cutaway. All right, something similar that was also added in 17, last update here. Let me get rid of these keyframes. All right, so before in Visualize, we didn't have the option to make appearances transparent. We would actually have to find an appearance that is transparent to begin with. And so that could get a little awkward dealing with appearances, textures, things like that you're not used to and exactly how to work with them, downloading additional ones. It just got a little painful. So now in 2017, we can actually add transparency to any appearance or texture. So once again, I captured a keyframe of this part in its initial state, created a timeline for my movie, and now I have this opacity slider bar where I can dictate just how transparent I want those different currently existing appearances to be. So let's go somewhere right in there, and once again, look at our kind of timeline movie here. Oops, let's drag that red back. You can see as we start to transition through time, we get some more transparency on those different objects we selected. All right, cool. That's it for the improvements and just a quick overview at Visualize. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll stay on for another 10 or 15 or however long it takes to answer any questions you guys might have. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.